There is belief system amongst black people today. Not all of them, but most. We're really afraid it's almost becoming a new religion. People are subscribing to it, they believe it. They don't even question it. That is to say that black people cannot be alcoholics. That black people are drinking now, they're getting debauched simply because they are self-medicating. That their lives are so depressed that the only way for them to really be sane is for them to drink themselves to stupor. It's a position I'm not going to concur with, and I'm going to give you a reason later on. But I think let's just start to think about it. Many races are dealing with the issue of drug use. You read about the United States, or you watch news about the United States. Fentanyl is really sweeping that country. You look at other countries, they tell about crystal meth. Every country has got a problem, a pandemic of drug use that is there. But when it comes to South Africa, social media especially go there and try to really reason on the issue of, we need to slow down on this weekend for us getting debauched. We need to slow down on this fact of that street corners are where young people go, then they go and get drunk. We need to become a better people. And then I get told, black people can't be alcoholics because our lives are so miserable that there is no amount of drunkenness that can be equal to the drunkenness of our situation when we are sober. That when we are sober, we are at our worst. When we are drunk, at least we are better off because we can't even think suicide, you can't think other things. I want to protest that. I think we are far better than that. And I'll explain why I think we are far better than that. Because right now the situation is not dory. One of you are old enough to have been at the age where I could vote in 1994. And which then says to you, I know what apartheid is like. I'm a survivor of apartheid. I'm a product of that education system. My socialization from when I was born up until 1994 has been about thinking in the prism of apartheid, of thinking about myself as somebody who cannot have some things, who cannot go to other schools, who cannot get other jobs, who cannot travel the world, because apartheid meant that I was destined to live in a Bantustan of Leboa forever and ever. But I have seen black people in a far worse situation than now, believe me. I've seen them in far worse situation, and part of what I've seen it amongst the generation that came before, my grandparents, my folks. When they grew up in an environment they could not be the thing that they could not be. They grew up in an environment whereby they were earning so small money, a pittance, that a man will work in an asbestos mine, have his lungs blown off, and he could not even build his kids in a house. I've seen parents who could not buy their kids school shoes, parents who could not pay school fees, 50 cents. When I started school fees at Buikuchu was 50 cents. I've seen parents who could not pay 50 cents. I've seen parents who could not give their kids stuff to carry to go to school, could not pay for school trips. And they did not hit the bottle and say, we are self-medicating. They were in a far, far depressed state than young people living today and black people living today will ever be. But they never hit the bottle. They thought about what they can do. They started food gardens. I can speak about my grandmother. She was selling carrots, beetroot, spinach, snuff at some stage. Before I was born, she was even brewing alcohol. She was selling alcohol. Selling beer, not alcohol. She was selling beer. She was brewing and selling beer. Because the situation was that you are not going to be able to get a job, my sister. You are not going to be able to become a doctor. You're not going to be able to become a member of parliament. You are not going to be able to own a house. But they never went out and got drunk saying the situation is so defeated. Just as say, I fail to understand this narrative now that's so creeping black societies that, oh no, we are just medicating. We are self-medicating. Oh, our life is so depressed. Because that's self-hating. You are self-hating. That's self-hating. You're saying, look, things are not happening for me, so I'd rather just destroy myself. I'd rather destroy myself and destroy my society. Because when you say you're self-medicating, when you become an alcoholic, you are not only becoming a burden to yourself, you're becoming a burden to other people. So even if there was one person in the family who's working, who could be able to try and lift the family out of the abyss that is in, they are not going to be able to do it because you are pulling them down. When they're trying to buy a sofa, because you've now moved, you can no longer be able to drink whiskey, you can no longer be able to drink beer, you're now drinking Tot or the home brew one that comes in a very small bottle. You are not drinking that one. It means at some stage you're going to move into other things and you're now going to start selling things. You're going to sell a sofa, you're going to sell a television. You are dragging everybody down because you are saying you're self-medicating. And that's abusing of term. Self-medicating is quite a very big thing. You diagnose your own problem, and your own problem says depression. And for you to do depression, you have to go out there and drink. Drink. You just need to go and drink. Oh, white man is oppressing me. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take the white man's drink and the white man's poison and drink myself to stupor. I think we're better than that. Look, I am perfect, not by a long shot. I'm not going to try to be, but I have lived long enough. I've lived under apartheid. I know what apartheid is. I know how defeated. I've seen parents not eat, rather prefer their child eat for them not to eat because they wanted their child to grow. Because for them to want it to grow, it means they want you to better. They want you to live a better life to them. You know, there are some situations whereby I'd rather die than and let the kid grow because only your kids can become better. And now you're the one who who think you're self-medicating. You are not the one that's making things better because your parents had it hard. Apartheid was hard. I often say people who were born after apartheid, or people who were born from 1985 coming to this side, you'll never in your wildest dreams be able to imagine what apartheid was like. You'll try, you can read books, you can read different kinds of books, but you'll never be able to imagine. We lived apartheid. Our uncles drank, but they didn't drink themselves to stupor. They would go work, get a pittance, buy that beer, drink. Whatever depression did, the workplace depression did to them was that it made them abusive. They abused our aunts. They abused their sisters. They abused different people. They became abusive. It made them self-hating. That's why there was all this gangsterism, knife stabbings. Black people were so violent at the time because the situation they were living in was so violent. It produced violent people. That's why there was even high tones of violence even right now. But it never made them throw in the towel to be self-defeatist to the point where we say, we are not alcoholics. We are just depressed. We are self-medicating. For how long are we going to be saying self-medicating? Because what I think we need now is just to really diagnose the problem. If you take a hoe, one used to dig, you dig hoe and you dig the ground and you put seed, it's going to grow. There's no reason why you have to go sit at a corner and become a member of a tourist gang and say you're self-medicating. You can become better. If you plant things grow, if you go around asking for small piece jobs, people are going to give you piece jobs. You can buy a loaf of bread rather than to say, because I can't get a job, because white men can't give me a job, I'm going to self-medicate. There's nothing called self-medicate. I think we deserve better. Biko didn't die for that. Black consciousness is about identifying the blackness in you and actually just loving yourself. Not the way you are, but wanting to better yourself to become a better black person. He didn't die for that. So, come on, let's become better people. Let's stop this new religion that's creeping, that's this new faith of saying we're self-medicating. We're not self-medicating, we are killing ourselves. That's suicide. It's slow death. Don't agree with me, but come here. I think it's here. Like and subscribe to ASAP, A Certain Perspective, so that I can rant and I can bore you. But overall, I want us to make the circle bigger so that we can all have a space where we can rant. And you can comment. You can tell me if I'm talking rubbish. It's okay. But let's talk.